Jean Angel by Atul Mohide. Prologue. It had been a long time since the people of Xisia gathered in such a huge number. There were several rules, and one was that there should be no gathering unless ordered by the king. They were all there to discuss just one thing: the prophecy. There was an elderly man living in Xisia named Mohan, almost nearing the age of death. He could barely walk on his own, so there was no question that he couldn't work. The only ability he had was to predict the future, which happened to him very naturally and mostly through his dreams. Most surprisingly, all his prophecies had converted to the truth, irrespective of how much people believed in them. They all had led to the prosperity of Xisia, except this one time when he predicted the city's destruction. The king shall be removed from his position, and the one doing that will be someone who could see things that others cannot. While he shall carry God's scar on his chest, and when he enters, the golden days for this kingdom shall come. His words got the attention of the people of Xisia immediately. Very soon, everybody started talking about his prediction. Everyone, including the kids, the women, all the working and non-working men, and the old as well, asked Mohan the same question: when shall he come? He was going to narrate in detail for those who had gathered together. All were tired of the king and his strict rules, and their inner selves demanded freedom. The freedom of choosing their profession, the freedom to raise their children as per their wish, and not forcefully joining the king's army. They wanted art, music, literature to be available in Xisia, like that of their neighboring city, Kalinagari. Some of them were fortunate enough to have been there a few number of times, and some had even settled in there after they had enough of the king's rule. "Move! Everybody, move out of the way!" A deep and husky voice came from the crowd. "It's the king!" someone in the crowd announced. Everybody made a way for the king immediately. Very soon, the king was standing in front of Mohan. Everybody was silent. They were eager to know what the king would say about Mohan's prophecy. It is not easy to accept your own downfall, after all, even though you were the king. The king waited, thinking that Mohan would speak first and ask for his forgiveness. But Mohan stayed quiet. The only indifference was that his head wasn't down like the others surrounding him. In fact, he held his head high, expressing that he had done nothing wrong. Being angry and insulted, the king's words came out with much fury. "Tell me, what did you see?" "I saw a path towards glory," Mohan responded. "Really? How?" "By bringing you down." A soldier took out his sword and stepped forward, but the king stopped him. "Whom did you see, bringing me down?" "That I cannot say, but he would be someone." "Someone?" "Someone who could see things that others couldn't." "Really? Ha 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 ha!" The king broke out into laughter. Mohan was astonished to see the king react in that way. After hearing of his downfall, the king should have reacted differently. He should be getting angrier instead. But then the king explained. "Do you think a mad person can take away my kingdom? Do you?" He burst into laughter again. "I didn't say mad. I only said that someone who could see things that others couldn't, isn't it? That's what the mad do. Now, if you ever talk about this to anybody, you know what I can do to you." "I'm not afraid of you now, Robert. The time has come. He will lead this kingdom to glory. You will see." How dare you take the king's name?" One of the king's guards took out his sword, but the king stopped him again. "Whoever this man you are talking about, is he from my kingdom? Or somewhere else, huh?" "That I must not tell you." "You should. Otherwise, I'll cut your throat." "I'm not afraid of you. Had I been afraid, I would have never talked about the prophecy. It was my duty to share what I see and make you aware of the things that are coming forth." "So, you are not going to tell me then?" "I have told you enough." "All right then. Guards, you know what to do." The king turned his back to Mohan and left, heading towards the royal chamber. The guards grabbed Mohan. "Any last wish?" one of them asked. "You know my wish," said Mohan. Without even thinking twice, the guards sliced Mohan's throat. The next thing that they all knew was that Mohan was lying dead, right where he told the prophecy. Many cried, since he was their beloved person. He must have told countless stories to people, which inspired them in their troubled times, including his dark prophecies that never fail to come true. They all wished and prayed that his last prophecy would come true. King Robert would have to pay for what he did.